What's going on, folks? It is Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Lair to provide you my very insightful and deep reaction to this latest episode of The Gifted. This was The Gifted, I believe it was episode 10. My mind is fucking blown. This was a really fucking good episode. It was intense, it was realistic, and ultimately we got what I had postulated we would get last week, and that is the full-on fucking Cuckoos together, the three of them. Well, there's only three in the show right now. Okay, so this, I've been doing a little research. Like I said last week, like I know that Esme is one of the Cuckoos, but I didn't know which one, and I knew that there were originally 5. And apparently, after doing some research, I found out that Esme is actually one of the 5 that was killed. So 2 of them were killed, and only 3 remain, and that's what we've had for a while now. It's been a few years. Anyway, it was fucking awesome to see them together at the end of this episode, on screen, super fucking powerful and ruthless. Why are they ruthless? Because they're fucking clones of Emma Frost. And Emma Frost is that type of militant mutant. The type that's like, well, I'm just gonna fucking kill people because I'm not gonna let these motherfuckers kill me. And she taught them the way. You know, she gave them that sort of edge, that edge that sort of defines the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants side of things, the Hellfire Club, all the villainous organizations of the X-Men universe are all centered on this idea that you have to try to win this war against humans for equality aggressively, right? They're sort of like the Malcolm X. They represent like the Malcolm X side of the conflict, right? Like sort of the more radicalized side of the resistance against, you know, any kind of like social oppression, in this case towards mutants, but obviously allegorically in this to, you know, African Americans and every other marginalized class that has any kind of like significant struggle in our society to try to even just be accepted as like equal. And so the mutant villains have always sort of been in that category that aren't humans, that aren't like fucked up elements of like the world that are trying to eradicate them in one way, shape, or form. Like, if it's not that, then it's just mutants that are just radicalized. That Magneto, obviously, being the sort of the definitive one of that group, and Emma Frost also being definitive, but you know, teetering on the edge. She's always sort of teetered on the edge, right? Like she had her own school, like the Massachusetts school that she opened up because she liked what Xavier was doing, but she didn't necessarily like the way that they were going about developing into a force. Like she wanted them to be more aggressive. She wanted them to, just to take a firmer stand. And that's what ultimately she's been trying to teach the Cuckoos. You know, like she's been trying to make them understand that part of her, and ultimately that part of this ideology that is in her mind important to try to ultimately win this war that's being waged between humans and mutants, right? And so to see the brutality of everything that went on at the end of this episode, with Esme telling everybody, all these guards, all these security folks, all Sentinel service folks, and like people in the Trask Industries to fucking kill themselves. And like we were seeing it, man, it was brutal. That was like legit fucking Esme. That was legit Emma Frost's influence, you know? And it felt so authentic. And then in that very last shot where we finally get the Kuku Sisters coming out and they're all united. Well, first of all, when Esme was just demonstrating her power, that was fucking awesome. Like just that itself, I was like, damn, she is such a clone of Emma Frost, and they're really representing like how powerful she is. And like, I was really excited by that entire thing. And then to see her sisters come up behind her and them become one and them talking as one. The 3-in-1, that's what they were called, right? The 3-in-1. They were originally called the 5-in-1, I think. And now, this is all stuff I read today, right before I shot the video. But like, yeah, to see that, it was like, wow. Like, this show is really going for it. Like, so I grew up, obviously, reading the X-Men. I read X-Men since the age of roughly 13. Starting with, Jim Lee's run of the X-Men, like 274, I think 276 was my first issue. The first issue I picked up off the rack, and so I grew up in a different sort of era than what is partly being represented here, because the Cuckoos are part of New X-Men, and New X-Men wasn't developed until the after 2000, when Grant Morrison came on and sort of took his own direction for the X-Men and really developed a lot of like new elements that really were different from what Chris Claremont brought, but really ultimately helped to kind of get the X-Men going in a completely interesting and new direction than it had for several years, where it was stagnating. It had really stagnated before that, after Claremont left. There was something missing there, and I think Grant Morrison brought something completely different and then took it in a direction that was very sort of new, because it was the new X-Men. And like, part of that was introducing the secondary mutation. Part of that was introducing a lot of new mutants. Quentin Quire, obviously the Cuckoos, what's her name? Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She was introduced during Grant Morrison's run. There were a lot of really interesting new characters and elements introduced by Grant Morrison. And the Cuckoos have been a part of this ever since. And even though, again, like when I started reading and I read most of my childhood, like I was in a different era. I was in the Claremont era. And then I actually took a break. And then I came back to comics about 7 years ago, I think it is now. And like, I caught up with all of it and I just fucking fell in love with it. And so over the past 7 years, the Cuckoos have just been a permanent part of like the X world. They're always kind of around. They have a role to play, either significant or not. They're always there, And like the death of two of them, and I think the death of two of them happened around the M-Day period, where again, like you had like the decimation of the X-Men because the Scarlet Witch at the end of M-Day said no more mutants, and that brought the population down to, I think it was like 194, I want to say, something like that, 196 like mutants left in the world, whereas there were millions prior to that. And during that time, like there was this group called the Purifiers and other elements that were just looking to get rid of all the remaining mutants and basically force them to go extinct, which was always like their plan. And so during that time, a lot of mutants were just getting slaughtered. There was I think it was what is it? There was an X-Men, I think it was New X-Men. I think it was a New X-Men series that was separate from the New X-Men series that was Grant Morrison's, that originally was the X-Men adjectiveless title that Jim Lee and Chris Claremont started. And then ultimately, went through several different cycles apart from these creators, and then became New X-Men when Grant Morrison took it over. So, but then I think after he left, it went back to being normal X-Men, and they started this other comic called New X-Men. And it was during that time that there was a slaughter. There was like so it was a book. I forget the name of it. I think it was New X-Men. It was about like the young generation. It was very similar to like Generation X, and books like that, where it's like, well, let's introduce a whole new group of young mutants and sort of make it like young people friendly, so that, the young people, people in their early teens to early 20s, like they have characters they can identify with versus like older X-Men in their 30s or whatever. And so in this book, like it was so surprising because like the kids were just getting killed. It was a slaughter. It was done by Christopher Yost, and I forget the other guy's name. They wrote The Dark World, and I think now they're screenwriters, but I think they might still continue to write comics. Christopher Yost and anyway, that run was brutal, and I believe the 2 of the Cuckoos were killed during that run. And then 3 were left over. And then that's what we've had ever since. And like they've gone through like weird sort of kind of the phases. Like I believe it was Jason Aaron. During that run, I think the Cuckoos maybe each got their own look. Like one of them dyed her hair black and one of them dyed her hair like red or something. I don't know. They were trying to like really differentiate themselves from each other. And like things have fallen apart between them and like Emma Frost. They have this like weird like love-hate thing going amongst all of them, which is really interesting. It's a really interesting dynamic between them and Emma Frost, which I hope they'll explore on the show. Maybe. I hope so, because that'd be awesome. I was clapping. I was cheering and clapping when I saw the 3 Cuckoos together. Super fucking powerful and just being goddamn fucking brutal. Just killing. I was like, wow. But you know what, folks? That wasn't even all of like the awesome from this episode. Like we had that really great fucking sequence inside the prison with Dr. Campbell and the Strucker twins. Fenris Jr., like, that whole sequence. First of all, the mention of adamantium, like the room was made of adamantium that they were put into to test their powers, and how that was indestructible, and how he found it. He found the metal in an abandoned Canadian facility, Weapon fucking X. I mean, there's a Wolverine in this world. 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 Again, I was led to believe, based on this, not the marketing, was like the coverage, like the news stories surrounding the production of the show since it was first announced, that this particular show is supposed to take place in the movie universe. Like I remember reading that. I remember reading also that Legion was not. So that was specified then. I haven't heard anything about it since. But this is what I heard then. So, like, if this exists in the movie universe, then of course there's a fucking Wolverine. And of course there's a fucking Weapon X facility. And of course there's a bunch of adamantium left over. Anyway, so that's what the room's made of. Anyway, Dr. Campbell fucking killed Dreamer. Like, he just fucking killed her. It was brutal. And it was shocking. I was like, what? Like, they killed her? They fucking killed her? That was terminal. I don't think she's coming back. And I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the show. I'm impressed at the kind of show balls it has. Like, it's really willing to go fucking far. You know, and its willingness to depict this as a real world with real stakes. I hope this isn't changed, because another thing I want to mention now is, like, when the Struckers exhibited their power, like, they really got to, like, loose. Like, it was fucking amazing. Like, it looked great. It looked fucking great. It looked cinema quality in my mind. It looked cinema fucking quality special effects. And it's like, I hope they're not pulling the old bait and switch just like they did on fucking some of these CW shows. Like, I'm telling you, the Flash CGI was really fucking good. Up until there was, like, some real talk about, like, the Flash movie going into production. I think they needed to make the show look a little cheaper at that point in order for it not to compete against the movie universe. Because before that point, and I'm talking about, like, before the Gorilla City, when we saw Gorilla Grodd, I think his name is. I'm sorry, I'm not the best DC guy. It is Grodd, Gorilla Grodd. When we saw Gorilla Grodd and we saw fucking King Shark, I think his name is. They looked amazing. Like they didn't look animated. Like they looked authentic. Obviously the show is putting in money. But then after that point, like you started to see like the effects too much. Like it became too, like the quality just wasn't that great. It became a little bit more animation, less realistic. And that was disappointing. And that was once the show had really like caught fire. I just don't want this. I don't want them to like kind of pull back because like you're giving me everything I want. I'm getting some great effects. I'm getting great acting. Everybody's doing a fantastic job. Like all the performances are fucking awesome. I am buying all of it. Like they're all doing great. The characters are real to me because these actors are selling them that way. And like I am very grateful because a show like this, again, could easily come off really shitty. And this is not coming off shitty. This is coming off fucking great. So like, I don't want Fox to pull back because okay, so this was the mid-season finale, I think, or maybe we're almost there. I don't know. I think this might've been, this is episode 10, I think. I'm sorry if it's not. I don't have all the details, all right, folks. I only have so much time to do these videos. I have to just talk off the cuff without much preparation because, hey, I have a full-time job. Like I'm a professor at a university. I teach 5 classes. It's a lot. It takes a lot from me, and so I don't have time to work on this stuff. I want to spend a ton of time on these videos and edit and organize and research, but I can't. I don't have time, and I apologize for that. This is all you can get from me, and I'm happy. I'm happy to do it because really I'm not looking for anything from it. I'm just looking to enjoy myself. And that's what I'm doing. I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to say that for those folks that are like, well, he should be doing this, that, and the other. It's like, well, yeah, I'd like to, but I can't. This is all I can do. Sorry about it. All right. Yeah, it was the demonstration. I just don't want Fox to pull back on it. You know, I don't want them to give us this fucking quality and then pull back after we are hooked. You know, because that would really be fucking disappointing. I hope that does not fucking happen. All right. Anyway, fuck, man. This whole episode was great. I loved everything. It was like the stuff with the Struckers and the Sentinel agent and his wife. I liked it. It was cool. Like it didn't feel as tense as maybe it should have, but it was cool. Like it was a good sort of like arc for the parents on this episode. I mean, obviously, like they are all about protecting their children. Their children have been captured, so yeah, I saw where that was going, and I liked the doubt that was cast in the audience, at least for me, about like the nature of Esme's role. Because it was clear, obviously, that she was playing people. And the question is, like, was she playing them for herself? Or was she playing them because she's a hound? And it turns out she was playing them for herself. She was doing exactly what I wanted her to do. Manipulate the fucking group so that she can get her fucking sisters out. That's authentic fucking cuckoo behavior. And I got it. And I'm very proud of it. Very fucking proud of it. Very proud of the show to have given it to me. Yes, thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, show. Thank you for being authentic X-Men. Thank you. Thank you so much. Continue, please. Oh, Killing of Dreamer. Damn, that was intense. That was fucking, that was some severe shit. Like that made me fucking buy everything. Oh, and Clarice, Blink. She was fucking, I felt her pain. She was just crying. And it was just great. Like her performance was so authentic. I was like, yeah, that fucking sucks, Blink. They just killed your friend in front of her. And then the kids were like, did you see how he did it? He did it as though she wasn't even a person. And it's like, they're realizing what it is to be treated like that. To be treated like you have zero value. It's fucking dope, man. It's a really good show, man. I'm really impressed. And I gotta tell you folks, like, I've seen those photos for Dark Phoenix and I cannot get excited for it. I like Sophie Turner. I kind of like the way she looked, but I really like the way she looked at the end of X-Men Apocalypse. So I'm hoping that they continue with that, like the Firebird, because it's got to be the comic Firebird. Like, that is awesome. It's a great fucking image. And, like, why would you not demonstrate that like that? Fucking X-Men The Last fucking Stand. I'm sorry, folks. But like the guy directing this is a first-time director. His name is Simon Kinberg. He's been a producer on these movies since like I think X-Men 3. He wrote X-Men 3. He's written other movies, but like Days of Future Past, he wrote with somebody else. And he wrote Apocalypse with somebody else as well. But he also wrote Fantastic Four. And he was trying to sell Fantastic Four, this new one, this Josh Trank one. I don't trust the guy. Like, I just don't trust him, you know? Like, he's already abused my babies. He's abused them. And I don't want him to abuse them more. And, like, for them to give him this movie, this very important movie, which is all about redemption, is such a risky thing, and I cannot be optimistic about it. So I'm sorry that, you know, images come out. I'm not that excited about it because I'm worried that I'm going to get excited and I'm going to be disappointed, like I was with X-Men: The Last Stand. And I don't want to be disappointed like that because that was heartbreaking. That was a heartbreaking fucking experience. Like the trailers for that movie were so great, and on the heels of X-Men and X2, I was like, damn, this is going to be incredible because the trailers were so good. It's like, okay, they're just not showing us. They're just not showing us the Firebird. And I was like, all right, we're going to see it. But no, it was like a glowy, floaty effect. Like, you're kidding me, right? Glowy, floaty effect for fucking Dark Phoenix. And you're going to like subordinate that storyline to like The Cure, which was a cool storyline. Joss Whedon wrote about it in Astonishing X-Men, his run. Cool, whatever. But like still, like if you're going to tell a Dark Phoenix story, you better tell the Dark Phoenix story. It looks like they might be doing it in this film, but again, I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I'm just not optimistic at all. I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but I'm just not optimistic at all. So I'm just really happy that like we have another quality, not just good, but quality X-Men show. Like Legion, completely different though, because Legion, I felt the stakes weren't as high in Legion. Because it really was, because the villain was the shot. Oh, I'm sorry, spoilers. Spoilers for Legion. If you haven't watched Legion, don't fucking listen to this next part. Mute it for about 10 seconds. Because the villain was Shadow King, and Shadow King is a mutant. And so it was mutants. Versus here, it's like humans versus mutants. Humans that are ruthless. And how they're willing to manipulate mutants to then fight other mutants. And that's completely different, and the shows are completely different, but they're both quality. Legion's fucking super quality, and this is super quality. No, this is super quality, and we're not even done with the first season yet. I've heard that they have renewed it for a second season, which is very fucking exciting. Very fucking exciting. I mean, this is going to continue. And as far as I'm concerned right now, this show is better than all the CW shows. So it's already up there. And it's inching closer to the Marvel Netflix shows. It's inching closer to them. We'll see. I just want to see like the landing. You know, I want to see what else they bring. But they just keep bringing it, and so it keeps getting better. And so I'm really excited about where it could go, and therefore I do feel that it could rival those shows and maybe even be better. Because again, I am primarily an X-Men fan, and so I mean I'm not primarily in terms of like. If I were to rank the superheroes that I love the most, the X-Men are on top for me, and they always have been. And so I can't help but think that if this show lands this first season really well, that it will be better than all the Marvel shows I've seen, all the superhero shows I've seen. Not better than Game of Thrones, even though it's X-Men. It would have to be like Game of Thrones money. Game of Thrones money, where here we would see all sorts of really cool shit. We would see probably the X-Mansion and shit like that. Maybe even like Magneto's Lair. I don't know. We would have seen a lot already, I think, because they would have had a much bigger budget. But it's all good because they're spending some good money on it. The effects are good. And I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm really satisfied. Really love this episode. The last part of it was delicious. I mean, I never thought I would see the Cuckoos represented properly, and in a way that's like authentically intimidating, you know, because that's what they are. They're lovable and they're intimidating. Like you fear them because they are a force to be reckoned with, and they have all this power and are adolescents, you know. So you got the mixture of all those things and like also like the influence of Emma Frost. It's all like it's a recipe for intrigue. And I've always been intrigued by them. The thought of them being real is frightening to me because who knows what they would do. They would totally abuse their powers, as Esme was abusing her power this entire episode, up to the point where she had people fucking kill themselves. Probably like 10 to 20 people. I mean, that's brutal shit. That is some brutal shit. I wonder if they're going to go up against the Cuckoos. I wonder if the Cuckoos are going to be the villain of the season. No, they're not. But I bet the Cuckoos are going to be the way that they are able to stop Campbell. And maybe there's 2 more somewhere. And maybe they'll die. Or maybe Esme's going to die. I don't know, but there's 5 of them. And I don't know. There's 3 of them, and I'm happy with 3. Anyway, folks, that's my video. Again, I didn't want to veer off too far in the X-Men movie direction. But then again, of course, I haven't really talked about the Dark Phoenix stuff. And I felt like I had to say something because at the very least I have a show that I can trust to be responsible to demonstrate my X-Men in the way that they deserve to be demonstrated versus represented versus who knows. Maybe a successful representation, maybe not in X-Men Dark Phoenix. We'll see. We'll see. I'm excited about this show continuing. I'm excited about New Mutants. New Mutants, I think, is going to be interesting. I'm excited about Deadpool 2. I'm sure it's going to be really entertaining. Plus Cable. I'm excited about Gambit. I think they're going to pull off a cool film. I think they've had some time to kind of rework things in the post-Logan era and post-Logan and Deadpool era, and so I'm looking forward to seeing to what that can bring. I hope they fucking get this shit into production, man. It's been in pre-production for 3,000 years. Let's go. Give me my Gambit. Give me my Gambit film. Right, Gumbo? All right, folks. That's my video. That's my reaction to this wonderful episode of this show that's just come out of the blue. Never expected it to be as good as it is, and I'm really happy it is, and I can't wait to get more because I fucking love it, and I love the X-Men, and to have an authentic X-Men show on television is really, I'm gonna start fucking crying because I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Legion was great, but this is in line with what's familiar to me. And so it's just, I think for me, it's even better than Legion. I think it'll ultimately wind up being better than Legion, even though I think Legion is masterful. Anyway, folks, thank you for checking out my video. Thanks for checking out my channel. If you haven't already subscribed and you want to keep up with my content, there's a little button right there, right under the screen. Just press that lightly. You are done pressing it. You're subscribed. Keep up. I have more videos. I'm going to post them. And hey, that's what I'm going to do because that's what I do. I do the video stuff. And that's that. All right. Thank you for checking out my stuff. Hope everybody's doing well. And as always, I'd like to remind you that if you haven't already, put an X in that box. You should, because ain't nobody checking me. Take care, folks.